Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Colleen and I'm really happy that you're here. I have recently run out of my homemade chicken stock and I work on my chicken stock to make sure that it's got a really deep, rich flavor to it. Sometimes that means adding more than the traditional things to it. So the timing is good because I also need to rid my deep freeze of a couple of items. So time to get started. Today we're going to make homemade chicken stock and we are going to can it in the Nesco Canner. So I will be right back after this to start this really simple process. We are in the second full week of March and it's time to start thinking about what we might plant, grow, and collect for the coming year. And I have had an opportunity to go look in my deep freeze to see what's in there that I need to get used up. And I found a couple of things that are going to help me to make my chicken stock today. So I'm going to get started. I had in there, just in the store-bought container, a rotisserie chicken that I'd bought, I think, for like $5. It was probably yesterday's chicken and they had just priced it down. Anyway, I bought the chicken and today I'm going to use that chicken, which has been in the freezer just a little too long for my liking. And I am going to use it for the base for my chicken stock today. So this works, rotisserie chicken works really well because it's already been roasted. So you don't have to roast off your chicken first to get the deep flavor. So I'm just going to put big chunks into the stock, into the pot. I am putting them directly into the pot for my Nesco Canner because I am going to pressure cook this stock, and then I am also going to use the canner to pressure can my jars. So today it's going to get double duty. Now I'm looking in there, I don't think it would hurt to add a little more. So as I was rooting around, I also found some chicken wing parts that are still slightly frozen, but that need to be used up as well. So in they go. I've got a couple of carrots here and I'm just gonna move my pot out of the way. I'm just gonna rough chop them. And when I say rough, I mean chunks. So big chunks like this, and they're gonna go in. I have 3 good sized ones. And I also have 3 ribs of celery. And I'm gonna do the same with them. It doesn't matter if the ends are still on, like the leafy part, because that just adds flavor. I have 1 large onion, and I'm just going to cut it up into wedges about that size. This isn't exacting, we're just building flavors here. Now also to this, because I'm not sure, although that looks pretty rich and hearty in there, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of za'atar, which is a thyme-based spice, and I'm going to add maybe only 2 bay leaves here. Got 2 stuck together, that really doesn't matter. And in this bowl I have roughly 10 black peppercorns, and I also have 1 tablespoon of chicken bouillon just to help ramp up the flavor a little bit. Now something that I haven't put in here yet that I'm going to is about a small handful of dried parsley. I will go get it and be right back. Now this parsley is just some we grew, and I dehydrated in my dehydrator. So I've got a good handful here, maybe a little less than that. And just give it a bit of a squeeze to wake everybody up. And that should do it. Now, that brings the pot to almost half full of ingredients. And now I'm going to cover everything in the pot with water. And I did, oh, yes I did, confused myself there. I got my big Pyrex measure cup out, and I'm not sure how much more I'll need, but you want it to be a couple inches above the ingredients in the pot, and in this case I think I can do that half again. And I can't tell you how much we appreciate having this fresh chicken stock to cook with. We do make a lot of soups here at our house, and starting off with the already enriched stock really makes a difference to the end product. Now, on my Nesco, the fill line is still quite some ways away, and I'm comfortable with that because I am, let's see, I'm past the 3/5 line, but I'm not to the 4/5 line for sure. So I could add some more stock to this at this point, or some more water, and enrich. If I use stock, it would enrich it even further. But I'm really satisfied with everything that's in the pot right now, and I'm looking forward to getting this into the canner and getting it started, because now I'm going to pressure can this pot for about 90 minutes, and the stock will come out quite a deep, rich color, and then we're going to further process it after that. So the stocks that used to take all day to make, we can definitely not do that anymore. If you have a Nesco canner that's can also be used as a pressure cooker, or if you have a large instant pot, you definitely can do this process a lot quicker. So that's the way I'm going to do it. You could, however, continue to do it the old-fashioned way, by putting it all in a roaster in the oven. Roast your chicken first, because that'll give it more flavor. Then add all your other ingredients into the roasting pan and cook it that way in the oven. Or you could put it into a slow cooker, probably 8 to 10 hours, and then you would see the same result as what we're doing in an hour and a half here. And you can see that didn't take an awful lot of time. But I should back up and say that while I do a bit of rebel canning, there are things that I don't do, and one of them is I don't add anything that has peels to my chicken stock if it grew in the ground. So I peel anything that I put in there, just because it's been in the ground and we don't have, pardon me, and we don't have any kind of idea what might have been in the soil. I think that washing is great, but I think taking off the outside peel eliminates the risk of there being anything in the soil that might have stayed attached to the vegetable. I'm going to put this in the pot and show you how I'm going to set that. So I hope you follow me along. So I think I've got you in a position here where you can see what's going on. So the first thing I'm going to do, now that I have everything in the pot, is I'm going to close the lid. And I am going to make sure that my pressure valve is set to exhaust, because we need it to exhaust. Now, there's some different schools of thought about this. I think mainly there was a bit of confusion when the first Carey or Nesco pots came out. They had different directions than the ones that have come out more recently. So the old directions said that you only needed to have 4 cups of water in your pressure canner, but the new book says 8 cups. I happen to have gotten mine when it still said 4 cups, so I had to learn to adjust that. Also, in the way that we use the pressure gauge has changed too. I have the green gauge on because I am just about 2,500 feet, so I need to have 15 pounds of pressure, and all the numbers that were on it have worn off, like all the writing. So, but I know after some time where my pressure gauge has to go. Also, in the beginning, I think some people were confused and they would set it to airtight right away. And really, I'm not sure if it's right or not, but I treat it more like it was a regular pressure canner at this stage. And once I get it started, then I leave it so that it can come up to pressure. I leave it on exhaust until it has exhausted for 10 minutes. And then I close it to airtight so that it's working more like a conventional canner on the stove, because we have to let our conventional canners come up to full steam and then steam to, blow straight out for 10 minutes, and then we close the valve. That's how I treat the carry. I think that the directions in the new canners are following those guidelines as well. So we're on exhaust. I'm going to go to high pressure. Time, I want to do this for 90 minutes. So I am going to head up there now. And then I just hit start. And you'll see the gauge going around and around, and it will do that until it reaches the next step. And then as soon as you see the E10 come on, let it count, close the valve and let it count down. It'll go E10, then it'll do this again. It'll go E10 to E0. Sometimes it doesn't go all the way down. It gets the pressure before that. So don't worry if that happens to you. And then it will start to count down your final cook time. So that's all there is to that. I'm just opening up my pot now, my kettle. Oh, and you should always open it away from yourself. And my pot is on this awkward cupboard. So the first thing I'm going to do is reach back and unplug it, because I don't need it plugged in anymore, and I don't need to be worrying about that cord. So I'm going to turn it sideways so that I can open the pot away from me and not worry about being burned, and also get it into a position on my awkward counter where I can safely open the lid all the way. Now, I'm not sure if you can see in there. I'm going to give you a little tip so you can see what it looks like. Now I'm going to strain this and save back the juice and get rid of the chicken bits and all the vegetables, because at this point in time, unless I was going to use them right away, and then I would probably blend them up and put them into a super stew. But as I'm not doing that right now, I'll discard them. Well, here I am getting ready to put this wonderful nectar in jars, but I'm just going to give it a little taste. So here I am, I'm about to put this absolutely delicious chicken stock into the jars. And it's a bit of a tricky process because it's liquid. So I'm sure that I'm not going to get it in there perfectly, but here we go. There was a little fat, and there might still be a little residue. There was some fat on the top of the jar, on top of the liquid in the bowl after I had strained it. And so I just removed it with a spoon. Kind of skimmed it all off, but there will be some left behind, and that's not going to worry me for the small amount. Now, can you see how dark it comes out? It's just been so enriched, and it tastes absolutely wonderful. I didn't salt it and I didn't pepper it because at the moment I don't know what the end product is going to be. So I'm going to hold off doing that until I'm ready to use it, and then I can make that determination at that time. And it doesn't take long. I think I have too much for one canner load. Let's see here. I'm just taking it up to the 1-inch mark, which is the bottom of the jar ring, the big ring. This one right here, right there. That's the 1-inch mark. And I'm glad to have been able to use up the chicken that has been in my freezer altogether too long. And at the same time put some more homemade chicken stock into our pantry, because it's certainly much better than the store-bought. Now, I'm sure you probably don't have to cook this for 90 minutes when you're making it, but I really like that deep, rich flavor that comes from being cooked a long time. So I'm just going to move this out of the way. I'll take care of these jars, get the rings on, and get the canner started, and then I'll come back and do the rest. So I think that from this point on, you know the process, but this is kind of a beginner video, so maybe I'll just carry on. I've got a bit of vinegar in this bowl, and I'm just going to wipe all my jar rings, the tops of my jars, to make sure that there's no oil in the way to get, you know, in the way of the seal, because that would not be a good thing. And ooh, a little tricky there. So yeah, we don't want to give these seals any reason whatsoever not to do their job. And today I'm using Forjars seals. I'm not sure if you've heard of this company. If you've been following along with me, you have, but it's the company that I'm using at the moment, and they have that's Forjars, and I'll attach a link in the description box below, and if you follow that link, you'll get 10% off your first order with Forjars.com. So by all means, take advantage of the link in the description below to buy these lids. I've had really good results with them, and I do recommend them. So on go the lids, the seals, the rings just fingertip tight. Don't want to bear down on them. And I just double check too, because a couple of weeks ago when I was canning something, I had a ring, when I did it fingertip tight, the ring carried on and it wouldn't tighten. So I tried it with a second ring and it wouldn't tighten. So then I had to assume that the ring wasn't the problem, that the jar must be the problem. So I took the jar out, and I'm just using it in my pantry to store dry goods, because we don't need any reasons, like I said, for these things to fail. So I hope that I've given you clear enough directions that you would be able to start this project. It's really a beginner's project, and that you would be able to make some delicious chicken stock for your home pantry. And I wish you all a wonderful week. I hope that everybody is well and safe. And I'm thinking about the Ukraine and the situation with Russia right now. And my heart breaks for all of the people that are involved. I thank you all for watching, and I hope that you will like this video, that you'll share it with your friends, and that you'll consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And until next time, folks, take care. Bye-bye.